Good morning, my friends. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Thad. Thad, do I need to promote you or is Kelly getting on, or is anybody announcing anything, or should I just start? Those are my questions. Nope. I probably have to promote you. Oh, here, allowed to talk. Let's do that. Hello? Now it says, oh, there you go.
Thad James is talking. I'm talking. If you'd like me to do an introduction, and I don't know, Kelly's usually on
Okay.
these things, so she should be coming on relatively soon. But yeah, if
Okay.
you'd like to promote me, and so people don't have to see this, what I'm seeing right now when they get on.
Oh, I think I might have booted him off for a minute. There we go.
Oh, look at that.
Whoa.
Wow. Oh, there's not enough coffee for that in the morning.
There's Rob. Hi, Rob.
So I assume we're going to get a lot of Hanke fan club people here today.
Oh, yeah?
I assume that people just follow you wherever you are, and
Yeah. I'm okay with that.
the throngs of devotees and disciples of
Right.
Hanke.
Yeah. It's real good for my ego. So
I want to know how often you have to sit there and create bots that just follow you to.
oh, right. Yeah. Fiverr. That's what Fiverr's for. $5 a week, and I'm biggest guy in town.
Yeah, I was just on those sites. I had a little project going on. I did a lot of the Fiverr, and what's my list is somewhere. The ones that you had mentioned, some of the gig sites, and it's just amazing what you can get done, and how quickly it can get done, and how well it gets done.
Right.
It's just I'm thrilled by it. Because it's just very specific projects. You don't have to hire a team of people or a company to do analysis and white papers and things. It's just, telling somebody, I need this.
Yeah, it is pretty nice.
Yeah, I did a music track for one of my videos that way.
Oh, yeah.
I need
Nice.
a 30-second video music track, and when you pay them, you get all the rights. You don't have to worry about licensing and publishing things, and
Yep.
it's original track, and these people just whip it out on a computer, so it takes them really no time.
Nice.
They probably got stock,
Right. Of course.
files that they just create whenever. So
Well, it's 8:02. Should we get started?
I guess so. I got a little figure out what you're talking about today.
I don't know. Yeah. You need to let me know.
I should, yeah. We should go get together on that. So yeah, we'll get a couple more minutes. We'd like to thank Kathy and Christy and Rob for tuning in early this morning. Because
I saw Sue Harrison on there too, but she popped off.
Oh, did she pop off just as I got on? Was that a coincidence or?
I don't think so.
No, okay.
It was the background.
It's the background. Yeah. I turned this on. It's really cool. I don't know how to turn it off. I got to go back and reread. It took me half an hour to research that. I'm just not a good. This whole Zoom thing is just amazing. So yeah. So these four people now. There's Deb. Hello, Deb.
Oh, Deb. Hi.
Have tuned into the St. Louis Morning Zoo here with
Right.
Thad. wacky antics and prank phone calls coming up in 30 minutes right after your traffic and weather.
Yep.
So no, we're just giving it a couple minutes as people log on because not everyone can get onto Zoom as quickly as they think so, because while Zoom is an amazing thing, we were all technologically challenged. And it's
They also did a big update this week, so if people haven't logged on in the last couple of days, they're going to get prompted to update. So
that'll do it. I know Zoom's been huge. There was news that they had some Zoom outages at schools.
Yep, Monday.
Understandable for bandwidth. You've got 30 kids from each classroom, and each teacher has to host a room. And if you've never hosted one of these meetings, it's a big deal. I hosted one just between me and Mark Brimer. We just had a Zoom call, and he said, "Set it up." I'm like, "Sure, I'll set it up." And that's just a 2-person freebie thing. You get a free 2-person for all you people. Hi, Kelly. There's Kelly O'Donnell. You promote her, and so she could. Nope, that she is. Oh, you did promote her. Sorry.
Yeah.
But anyway, so setting up a Zoom call is not as easy as you think it is. There's a lot to do, which is great. I mean, it gives lots of options, but it's not for the faint of heart. So all that to say that thank you to Will for providing this service. We are on Will's account right now because he is quickly becoming a Zoom guru. He's not at guru status yet. He's just an officiant. But it's growing every day that he plays with this stuff. We'll get Kelly to unmute here and
there she is.
Oh, there she is.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How's everyone doing?
I'm doing well. Will's doing well.
Good. I apologize. I had some technical difficulties this morning.
We were just talking about that.
In the age of Zoom here. Well, I know, Thad, you've got everything under control, so I'll step aside and take it from here. You got it.
Awesome. Okay, well, we'll get started now that Kelly's here because she was the one we were waiting for. Let me first tell anyone who doesn't know Will Hanke a little bit about Will Hanke. Will Hanke is he runs a company called Red Canoe Media, and he is known mostly for his search engine optimization skills. You'll hear the acronym SEO, and people throw that out a lot. And if you're not knowledgeable about all this stuff, which you have no reason to be unless you're Will Hanke, SEO is one of the most important things for Google to find your website. And if Google finds your website, then they will promote it to people who are looking for your goods and services. That being said, Will has a lot of in-depth knowledge about a lot of other things that kind of go under that SEO umbrella, whether it's keyword searching, and what he's going to talk about today is optimizing your Google business listing. He has really become an expert at getting eyes onto your website and the best ways and practices to do that, because there's a lot of ways you can do that that aren't good. And if you don't do it the right way, Google will then kick you off. So that being said, Will is going to have a very specific discussion today about how to optimize your Google business listing. And I'm sure he'll tell you exactly why Google is so important to be friendly with. But all that being said, I'm going to turn it over to the expert, Mr. Will Hanke from Red Canoe Media.
Woo! Thank you. We need a clap track or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. How do you do that? I'll get on that with Zoom right now.
I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you. So thank you, Thad. And thank you, Kelly, for the opportunity to talk to everybody today. So I'm going to share my screen so you don't have to look at me. That's no fun. All right, Thad, is that working? You guys able to see that?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So I do a lot of work with companies, especially service type companies that need to generate leads. And one of the things that I'm seeing across not just work that I do, but I'm in groups with a bunch of other agency owners across the country, and they are seeing pretty much the same thing. And that is, as Thad mentioned, SEO is just one of the pieces of kind of an overall digital marketing strategy. The other big piece is your Google business listing. And some businesses are now seeing 40, 50, 60% of their leads being generated from Google My Business. And I'll explain what that is, of course. But it's almost surpassing SEO, and it's definitely surpassing social media, things like that. But all of these pieces work together, but GMB is a big piece of this. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. When they came to me and said, what SEO topic do you want to talk about? I kind of decided this is what we really needed to talk about. And Google My Business, as I mentioned, is just one piece of the puzzle. You know, what we call it at our agency is the digital dominance method. And there are a lot of pieces to building a campaign, building a strategy that really works well for a business that wants to use the internet as a way to generate more leads or generate more sales, whatever it happens to be. So here's a couple things that we're going to cover today. First of all, I want to talk about the latest updates with the Google Map listing. And by the way, I'm going to use these phrases: GMB, which is Google My Business. That is the map section of a Google listing. So if you type in plumber St. Louis, you're probably going to get those three results that are 3 plumbers with a map, that kind of thing. So they're all the same thing. I just refer to them in maybe slightly different ways each time. So we're going to talk about the 5 biggest issues that could prevent you from getting into that 3-pack, is what we call it. My proven model for ranking in that 3-pack. We'll talk about a couple tools to help you automate some of the pieces, some of the things that you need to do there. And lastly, how to get more authentic reviews. That's a huge piece of it. Real quick, just about me. I'm a certified Google partner, written a couple books on marketing. I've been doing this for 23 years. I speak at events across the country, of course, not lately. I don't, I do digitally. I guess you could say I'm speaking across the country today, right? And really our strategy or our specialty is helping businesses generate leads. So I work with my daughter, her name's Amber, and together we have kind of really built a great little agency. We were voted the top rated SEO agency in St. Louis by a company called SEO Blog. I've written a book specifically for window treatment companies, of all things. We've won awards for being one of the top 50 fastest growing companies, and we are veteran and family owned. There is a Q&A button, or you can use the chat function inside Zoom. And Thad, if it's okay with you, I would prefer that if a question comes up in the chat that you just pop in and interrupt me. so that while we're on that topic, I can answer any questions that come in. So if you do have questions along the way, just put them into the chat and I will answer them promptly. I will have time for Q&A at the end if I don't talk too long. But if you need something answered before that, go ahead and just ask. So does Google Maps still matter? Well, here's the thing. 71% of the clicks of a Google search go to these two areas, the Google Maps and the organic listings, or the SEO part of Google. So those top 10 listings that you see there. If you can dominate all three of those, or both of those, I should say, you're in a great place. This is one of our clients, Sunshine Drapery, and you can see that they're in the map 3-pack, and then they're first in the organic listings, and they actually got a bonus second listing in the organic results, which is fantastic because that means there's only 8 other companies being listed in the organic listings because they pushed somebody down by having that second listing as well. And all this just comes from optimizing your site. But getting into that 3-pack of results is huge. So does it matter? Yes, it matters a very lot. It drives a lot of calls to your business from people that maybe never visit your website. They just see you in that 3-pack and they decide to make the call straight from there. And you can't really rely on pay-per-click or paid ads by itself. People are starting to get banner blindness, and they have for years. In reference to the ads, people will skip right past the ads. The other thing here is mobile search. When you do a search on a phone, you get those 3 results, but they take up most of the screen, right? They take up the map plus the 3 results. People on mobile devices are very likely to make a decision specifically from those 3 results and never go to the actual organic rankings. Now, if you think that that's not a huge issue, consider this: 60 to 70% of all searches are now done on mobile devices. So that's phones, obviously, but also tablets count as mobile. So 60 to 70% of your audience or your potential customer base is using a mobile phone. So if your website's not mobile friendly, you're going to be missing out on a huge chunk of those potential customers. And if you're not in the 3-pack of map results, they might never even know you exist, which is kind of harsh, but it is the way it is. So here's a really cool thing that I saw around mobile versus TV. And as you can see, let's call it late 2018, mobile has by far passed the amount of time people are spending compared to watching TV. We, of course, we cut our cord years ago. I sit and watch YouTube every morning to catch the latest updates, which would be considered, mobile or internet, not TV for sure. But interesting to see how the mediums are changing in the way that people get their information. And, as it says here, which screen should you be on? I think that's pretty obvious. So here are some of the biggest changes that have happened. Over the years, the Google My Business has been, first of all, it's all changed names. It used to be called Google Places, then Google Maps, now Google My Business. At the same time, they also changed it from 7 results down to just 3. They are serving paid ads in the map results now, which is huge. So one of the things you can do is if you get listed in that 3-pack and then you run an ad specifically to the Google My Business area, you can actually show up twice. So there will be a 4th listing there. So obviously you can do it to get in there quicker in the first place, but just think if you're 2 of the 4 results in that Google Map area, chances are pretty good that you're gonna get some sort of a click or a phone call or something. So it's critical that you complete the advanced verification process, that you go through all the steps and claim your listing. I actually had to call an attorney fairly prominent attorney this past week, and he hadn't even claimed his Google business listing. I was blown away that it was unclaimed. So make sure that you do that. And the easiest way to do that is just go to google.com/business, put in your business name, and it'll pop up and say, is this your business? You can claim it that way. Lastly, reviews require real accounts now. So they've kind of gone back and forth on this, where there was a period when you could leave a review on Google without having a Google account. And of course, that didn't go over well because people were leaving bad reviews on competitors. So they've since ratcheted that back. You have to have a real Google account, which of course is not difficult to get, but does kind of thwart the process a little bit. Now, here's something interesting. You do see that there are ads above the actual 3-pack, and this is not unusual. But those ads are, as I said, they're kind of getting what we call banner blindness. People are not paying as much attention to them. And you'll also see the old one on the left here, that there were a lot of ads, and then there were a lot of GMB listings, no map. That has since changed to just a couple listings, a couple ads, and then the map with just 3 opportunities. Now you can click this More Businesses button down here to get a bigger list. Most people don't. They just assume Google's giving them the best results, and that's what they're going to look at. So the way that this impacts search results, or the organic search, is pretty obvious, right? In some industries, home service type industries, so plumbing, roofing, those sort of, flooring maybe, those sort of home services business, there's actually a place in Google now called home service ads. So you can show up in that top area, then you have your regular Google ads, then you have the Google map or the Google 3-pack, and finally the SEO stuff way down there at the bottom. So while SEO is hugely important and people often scroll past some of this other stuff, especially on desktop devices, and go straight to the SEO, it's important to understand that there's a lot of opportunity for business before they get to the SEO. So just focusing on one thing, probably not the best strategy out there. So as I mentioned, the home services listing, then you have maps, then you have some third-party stuff, and then of course your organic listings. So it's best if you can be in all of these areas. Not an easy process to get there, but best if you can do that. As I mentioned, Google has really done a good job of reducing fake reviews and fake business listings. There was a time when a lot of businesses were building fake profiles out there, things like that. So Google has done a fantastic job of really reducing those over time, which is great. So what could be hurting your Google rankings in the map area? First of all, you need an office in the city you're targeting, which is pretty easy for most businesses. Now, if you're a home-based business, that maybe gets a little more difficult. It depends. I have a home-based business, and I have for a long time, probably 15 years. And I list my home address in there. And in all those years, I've had one person show up at my home, and they're a client, which is fantastic. So it worked out well. So I hear the argument a lot that I don't want to put my home address on there because people are going to show up. There are ways around that, and it doesn't happen too often, quite honestly. Also, businesses sometimes fake their location, right? They'll put that they're in the middle of St. Louis, or that they're in Fenton, or that they're downtown, or whatever it happens to be. You need to have a real address at a real location. You cannot use a post office box, a UPS box, those sort of things. You need to have a real address. Now, there's nothing saying you couldn't rent Thad's closet and use that address. I don't think he would let you, but there's, maybe there's a business that has an extra office that you could rent monthly, that you could get mail at. That's totally legit. Maybe not the the most legit way to do it, but it does work and it will work. You just have to be able to get mail at a physical location. So don't try to spam any fake locations. And you need to have a consistent name, address, phone number across not only your profile, but on your website and on any other business listings, such as the Fenton Chamber page, anything like that. It always has to have the same name, same address, and same phone number. And the big one here really is address. If you put 123 Main Street on your website, MAINSTREET, but then on the Fenton Chamber site, you put 123 Main ST, that's a difference. And that could hurt you in your overall rankings for the 3-pack. So having that, what we call NAP, name, address, phone number, always the same everywhere you list your business is very important. And we'll talk a little bit more about what are called citations in a little while. Number 4, did you spam your city in your company name or categories? So one thing you can do, we can see over here on the right, Seattle Awnings. If that's the actual name of that company, but they put their business name in as Seattle Awnings, Canopies, Window Treatments, and Shades, something like that, Google could kick them out. They think that they're doing good by putting in keywords that make sense, but in the GMB listing, you specifically have to have your business name, and that's it. So any other competitors that are doing that are doing it wrong, could get reported or flagged and booted out of that. So don't put yourself in that situation where you think you're doing the right thing by adding keywords. Not a good place to do it. And lastly, do you have enough reviews? Reviews are probably one of the biggest things that are going to drive you being in that 3-pack area. And we'll talk a little bit more about reviews. So our proven formula is optimizing your Google My Business profile, getting what we call citations or mentions of your business on other websites, boosting reviews, which is not an easy process, but needs to be done because that's a huge piece of you getting in there. And lastly, actually optimizing your website. So your on-page SEO, things that you can do on your website to influence your overall rankings. Those are the 4 pieces. So I don't like this slide just because of all the words. I'm not a big word guy when it comes to slides, but there is a lot of information in this particular slide that is probably the meat of this entire webinar. So tons of things that you need to do. Claim, optimize your listing. So claim it first, google.com/business. Put your business in there. Either it's going to come up and say, yeah, we know that business, or no, we don't. Please add it, and claim it. And typically claiming it includes them sending a postcard to you. So back to having a real address, they're going to send a postcard to the address you put on there to make sure that you're really at that address. And that postcard will have a PIN number on it. Once you plug that PIN number in, then they'll show you in the map section. So important that you use a real address. And that will complete the claiming portion of your Google My Business profile. So then it comes down to optimizing your profile. When it comes to that, make sure that you have the correct company name and that it reads company name, not additional keywords. Put your address in there, your website address. If you've claimed this in the past, maybe you claimed it 6-8 years ago, and you have since updated your website, or maybe you added an SSL certificate or something to get it secure because you were told that was something you should do, make sure that your address has that HTTPS in the website address area. This will obviously create a link back to your business. So you just want to make sure that that is 100% correct. Use a local number. 800 numbers, not really a thing anymore. There's really no such thing as long distance anymore, I guess. Use a local number. Use a local address, no PO box, no UPS store. And then photos. Photos is a big part of optimizing your business listing. And you should use different photos. Obviously, photos of your products, action shots. If you're a plumber, make sure you're careful where you take those action shots from. But have pictures of maybe your workroom, normal pictures during your day, things that you do, pictures of the front of the building if you have that. Obviously the equipment. Also, there's a place to upload your logo. And you could put pictures of your staff if they give you approval to do so. Now, one thing that I didn't mention on here is it's also important that you geotag pictures. So if you do have a picture of the front of your building or equipment or things like that, there is a service called GeoImager, GeoImgr.com, I believe. And I think it's $9 a month. But even if you just used it for a month or two, what you can do is you can load your pictures into that system first, and then you can geotag where that picture was taken. So it was taken in Fenton, Missouri. It was taken in Crestwood. It was taken in Festus, whatever it happens to be, right? So you geotag that location, download the picture with that information now embedded in that picture, and then upload those pictures to your Google My Business profile. It's going to be a little extra SEO boost because they know that that picture was specifically taken in that area, which is a pretty cool little thing. It's going to help you a little bit with your overall 3-pack rankings. Lastly, list your hours, any services that you offer. All of this, by the way, is done with this info tab. So once you claim your business, you'll get this little thing with all these different things on the left, and info is the one where you'll put most of this stuff. Add as much as you can, fill it out, put your hours in there. You can also put in any special days that maybe you're closed, Labor Day, July 4th, things of that sort. You can put those in there as well. And then on those days, it will show that you are closed or temporary closed, things like that, but open Monday at 9. So you can put those special holidays, typically holidays, in that location as well. So once you claim your listing, then you'll see the little check mark there, verified listing. And as I said, make sure that you really, fill this out the best you can, as much stuff as you can. And don't forget about the photos. You add those photos. You can put a logo, of course, profile picture, which is typically a logo. And then they also give you a place to put a cover photo, which is kind of the main picture that shows up when somebody's searching for your business. So it needs to be something that makes sense. Like I said, front of the building, these guys have a picture of their van with their staff, something that makes sense and portrays an image of your business. There's also very valuable insights that you get as part of having the GMB listing. They'll show you how many times you showed up when somebody searched for plumber St. Louis or whatever it is, and then how many times people clicked on that. They'll also show you how many times people picked up the phone and called you because of that listing. So some really good data that you can get once you have this set up. And it might help you make decisions. If you decide to run the ads in there, you'll get that fourth listing and you can actually see the insights, how much that boosted you or whether it did or whether it didn't, how many phone calls you generated more than you usually do, those sort of things. So some best practices, update your photos, add them on a consistent basis. So I'd say once a month, geotag some pictures and put them up there. Obviously more often is better, but we are kind of busy running a business. So, this is a Sunday afternoon project, maybe, get those in there. Google Posts, I would say, and my thing here says every 90 days. For our clients, we do Google Posts every 10 days. I'm going to back up here and show you where that's at. So above the info button there's one that says Posts. And that's where you would put a new post. So a post could be a sale that you have coming up. It could be a blog that you wrote recently. It could be an event that you're sponsoring or going to be at, things of that sort. So updating those Google posts is really cool because when somebody searches for your business, it shows up in that actual listing as something that is very, very recent. And it just makes your overall profile look like it's a little more active, especially if the other two guys aren't doing it, then that puts you in a good spot. Respond to reviews. So whether you get a positive or a negative review, hopefully positive, you should always respond to them. So for the negative or for the positive reviews, a simple thank you. We really enjoyed installing that thing, you know, or we really installed, or we really enjoyed being at that event, you know, something like that. Hope you had, in Thad's case, hope you had a great birthday, you know, glad to be a part of it, those kind of things. So respond to reviews, always do that. And you can do that inside of that same system. If you get a negative review, there's a couple things you should probably do. First of all, call the client and see if you can fix it, right? And as part of fixing it and making it better and giving them some money back or whatever it is that they want done to get it fixed, make sure that you say, you know, I would really like it if you would delete your review or change it to 4 or 5 stars. I would really, well, I would say 5 stars. That way, if they give you 4, you're okay, right? You know, but make that part of fixing it. If you decide that you can't come to an agreement or you didn't really do the thing that they said you did, respond to the review. And the way I like to do it is respond to the review while you're really mad, right? And you just read it, but don't hit publish. Copy it, paste it into Notepad or something like that. Stew on it for a day or two, then go back and fix your review, your response. And obviously your response should not be, you're a big dummy. It should be, you know, we're really sorry. We did reach out to you to try to make it better. You know, just be honest. And people expect businesses to have bad reviews every once in a while, but the response that you put out there is really where the power of that negative review comes into play. So if your response is, yeah, we screwed up, we tried to make it better, you know, if it's all real positive, then the overall negative review isn't going to come across to a potential customer as negative as much, which is fantastic. So that's kind of how we tell people to respond to negative reviews. There is also a place for people just to ask questions. You know, do you guys have parking? Are you open Tuesday evenings? I mean, they should see that in the hours, but people ask questions, right? Do you have this particular item? You know, those kind of things. People ask questions all the time. Get in there, answer those questions once they're asked. And you do get an email when somebody posts a question. So you can get in there and answer that promptly. And those questions stay on there. So if somebody looks a year later, they can actually see those questions in there as well. I should also mention that there is a actual Google My Business app, which you can download specifically for GMB, hook that up to your profile, and it lets you add, add in a chat function where somebody can actually put a question in there and it'll pop up on your phone as you have, you know, the little bubble with the 1. Click on that so that you can answer that quickly. So get that Google My Business app. It's a good one to have. It lets you, you know, do some other things in there. Not as much, obviously, as doing it on a desktop, but there is some functionality that's pretty nice with that Google My Business app. All right, number 2, citations with consistent name, address, phone number. So citations are mentions of your business all across the web. They could include a link to your site, but don't necessarily have to include a link. They just have the same name, address, phone number. When Google sees those 3 things, they know that you are referring to a specific business. And in some ways, it actually counts as a link for your business. So make sure that those are always correct. Make sure that if there's any duplicates that you delete the duplicates. any incorrect business information, you get those, and you want to get a lot of citations. So some places you can get, here's my example, Sunshine Drapery. So they might get links from other blogs, from vendors, from associations that they're in, obviously from Facebook, so from social media platforms as well. But there are a lot of places that you can get links. Beyond that, there are services that can help you specifically build citations. Bright Local, WhiteSpark, Advice Local, Moz, and Yext. The biggest one is probably Yext. We like Moz Local. We use that for a lot of our clients. And the way that those systems work is you put in your business name, address, phone number. It goes out and says, okay, it's incorrect on this page, on this page, on this page. In some cases, they'll fix it for you automatically. In other cases, you have to manually go update that address or that phone number, or whatever it happens to be. WhiteSpark is whitespark.ca. That particular business, actually, you just plug in something like Florist, St. Louis, and it will give you a list of potential places that you could go manually do your own citations on. Cool service, a lot more work, but it just depends on how much work you want to do. I did mention Moz Local. You can actually go do a free check on Moz's site to see, how consistent your business listing is. You just plug in your, as I said, your company name, street number, address, and it will search on all the ones listed here, plus a bunch more, and tell you if it is correct or not. And I think it's free because at that point, if you want to fix it, you got to pay the Moz Local service, which I think is around like $119 a year. It's not really expensive. So, $10 a month, pretty good. So, okay. A lot of times there are inaccurate listings, and this could be because you moved locations, changed phone numbers, or they just didn't have some information. As you can see on this Foursquare example, it's just not found. So it will give you information on all these. There's a fix your listings button. That's probably when they ask for money. But as I said, a portion of these will get fixed through their automated system, but in a lot of cases, you're going to have to go visit the different websites and fix them manually. Some best practices, obviously claim and optimize your Google My Business listing. We've talked about that. Maybe consider using a tool like Yext or Moz, which talk directly to those different citation areas. Get listed in the major data aggregators. So we're talking about, Yellow Pages, not necessarily paying, but Yellow Pages, Yelp, things like that. Get into those businesses that at least claim your listing on those. And then use a tool like Bright Local or WhiteSpark to find other opportunities to get your business listed in addition. If you want some citation resources, I actually put together 75 of them absolutely free. And that's at redcanoemedia.com/citations. So that homework will keep you busy for a while. redcanoemedia.com/citations. All right, number 3, get lots of real reviews. We doing okay on time here? 8:40, okay. Get a lot of real reviews. So reviews are a huge piece of getting ranked in the Google My Business area. They're not easy to get. The negative ones, kind of easy to get, right? But the positive reviews, a little bit tougher. So a couple ways that you can do this. Leverage some tools that request a review after each service call or installation or whatever it is, purchase, anything that you do. Consider a printed review card. So if it's something where you go to a person's home and do something, or I guess even if they came and purchased from you, we have clients that make business cards that really don't have any information on them, just a QR code or maybe a link, review us here. And the QR code dumps them straight to the opportunity to leave a review, which is fantastic. Cool little thing, easy way to get reviews quick. You can hand it to the customer right there at the end of the service. If you have installers, have them plant that seed, obviously deliver world-class experience. Call them right after the service. We hope you're happy with your whatever it is. Would you like to leave us a review right now? And build those reviews and recognition of the opportunity into your company culture. One thing I like to tell clients is, especially for those that do home services or they're interacting with clients, customers, everybody has their phone, right? They have their phone with them and they love to talk about their phone. So, hey, you got an Android or an iPhone there? Oh, I got an Android. Oh, yeah. Hey, would you mind taking a picture of this QR code and leaving us a review while you're here? And in some cases, they'll do it right there while you're standing there in front of them. So take advantage of the opportunity to get those reviews at a really good time. We do have a service called Review System Pro. I know Thad has used our service in the past, but a very cool automated way to get reviews, plug in customer's first name and email address, and it will kind of automate that process out. And it does some really cool stuff. So if you're interested in that, reviews.redcanoemedia.com. And on that same page, you can also plug in your business name, zip code, business phone number, and get a PDF back of how you are doing with reviews. So it gives you kind of a review score, I guess you could say. Cool little PDF, all free, but worth plugging in and getting that information. All right, step number 4, on-page optimization. So this is things that you can do on your website to influence where you rank, both in Google My Business as well as just in Google in general. And that comes down to 3 main things: your page titles, your meta descriptions, and your heading tag, specifically your heading 1 tag. I'm not going to get into a ton of SEO stuff today because I could talk for hours on it and you'd be really bored. But these are the 3 biggest pieces of that. So what I was going to do is see if I can't switch over to the Fenton page. All right. Hopefully you can see the Fenton Chamber page now. So a couple things here that are important. First of all, the title tag. Thad, could you just let me know in the chat if you can see the Fenton page so I know I'm on the right place. The first thing is the title tag. Okay, thank you. And the title tag is something that's hidden behind the scenes in the HTML, but it shows up at the top in the tab area. So the Fenton Chambers title tag is Fenton Area Chamber of Commerce -home. So pretty good, probably some missed opportunity there, especially around MO. I would put Fenton, Missouri in there because I know that there's a Fenton, Michigan, because I've looked it up before. And then maybe a couple more words around small business help or something like that would be good. So this area you can control. If you're not sure how to do that, contact your web person. They can help you with that. That is the title tag. The title tag is also what shows up when somebody does a search for your particular business, or you show up in the list of results along with 9 competitors. So right here, if I do a site : and then this particular domain, fentonmochamber.com, this is basically, the site : is basically, hey, Google, show me every page that this website has. So here is that title tag. So that's why it's important. It would be very good to have keywords in here that make the most sense. Obviously, Fenton Area Chamber of Commerce is probably the #1 searched phrase, but home, useless. No sense in having that there. Have the word Missouri or MO, small business help, whatever that is. So that is the title tag. The second piece to that is the meta description. So the meta description, again, something hidden behind the scenes that explains what this page is about. And my guess is that you guys don't have one. So what I'll do is I'll do a right-click, view page source, and then I'm going to do a search or a find for the word description. Okay, so they do have one. It is Fenton Area Chamber of Commerce, St. Louis, Mo. That's awesome. At 450 members and growing, Fenton Chamber of Commerce represents about half of the area's workforce. We provide our members with valuable business resources and a sizable return on invest. So they ran out of characters. Okay, good. So there is a description. This is actually the open graph description. Here is the meta description right here, but it's the same, right? So meta name equals description. So that's where that is at. And the reason that is important is because that also shows up in Google right here below your title tag. So you can totally control the two things that show up in a Google search result. So consider that somebody just typed in Fenton Chamber of Commerce. There are going to be 10 results here. This will be one of them. So you need to make sure, obviously, that yours is first, and all this other stuff. See, here's some other things related to it. Make sure that this one is optimized the best that it could be. Kelly says this is incredibly helpful. I don't even know who wrote that description. That's probably bad, isn't it? It could be, I think you guys use a service, chamber type service. It could be that they just dump that description in for everybody. That's very possible. So, all right, the last thing is your heading tags. So H1 tags, very important. And again, I'm going to do a right click, view page source, do Control F, find, and then I'm just going to type H1. And I think you guys don't have an H1. Yeah. So you actually don't have an H1 on this page, which you should. So the H1 is the most important heading on the page. Most likely, Fenton Area Chamber of Commerce is your most important heading on this page. This is actually an H2 tag. And the reason I know that is because I can do a right click and inspect. And it gives me all the code, but I can see right here that it is H2. So that really needs to be H1. The H1 tag is the most important signal along with your title tag for Google to know what your page is about. I like to make the title tags very similar, or sorry, the H1 tags, the heading tag, very similar to the title tag, maybe the same, but an opportunity maybe to make it slightly different. So you can kind of mix it up and maybe get a couple extra little keywords in one or the other, but very good opportunity there. So definitely you need an H1 tag. I'll pull up Red Canoe Media just to show you kind of an example of an H1 tag and how they might match or they might not. So my title tag is St. Louis SEO, digital marketing, content, and paid ad specialists. My H1 tag is right here, St. Louis SEO, digital marketing, content, and paid ad experts. So very similar, but slightly different, but it is what this page is about and what I want to rank for. So those are the three pieces to kind of an online or on-page optimization. There are a ton of other things you can do, but those are probably the three biggest. And like I said, I didn't want to go off on an SEO tangent because you know I will. Again, our formula to getting ranked in the 3-pack is optimize your Google My Business listing, get citations back to your website, work on those reviews, and consistently ask for additional reviews, and then optimize your website with some basic things. Jeff said, show me H1 in the scripture. So if I do a right click and view page source, search for H1, there it is. It's shoved right in the middle there. Whoop. So that is it. H1, no class. That's just kind of making it pretty. But that is my H1 tag. Now, when it comes to heading tags, you need one H1 tag for every page on your site. So every page gets a different H1 and it matches what that page is about. You can have multiple H2 tags. This is a smaller heading. So if we're looking at the Globe Democrat or the Post-Dispatch, boy, I just dated myself. If you're looking at the Post-Dispatch, they have the one main heading that is the biggest news item of the day, right? That's your H1. Then there are smaller articles on the front page with headlines. Those are, we could call them H2s. So you can have multiple H2s, but only one H1. So if I do a search for H2, you can see that we have several of them. More traffic, better leads. Then we have another one, down here, I'm a business owner and I need ... So you can have multiple H2s on your site, but only one H1 for every page. All right. I should also mention here Bing Places. So I've talked all about Google My Business. Bing has one called Bing Places, and I think it's bingplaces.com. Another place that you should definitely go plug in all your information, claim your listing, optimize the best you can. And I don't have a slide, but actually Apple Maps also has a separate place that you should go optimize your listings. Exact same process. Most people are using Google. That's probably the big one. Get that one right first, and then go to Bing Places and Apple Maps and get those optimized as well. Now, this is a lot of stuff, and this is only one portion of everything that we do. If you'd like to talk to us more about all the different things that you're trying to do, your goals, those sort of things, redcanoemedia.com/strategy. You can set up a 15-minute call. We'll just chat about what you're up to, what you're trying to do, what you're trying to accomplish, and what your exit strategy is down the line so that you can build the right pieces in place now to generate more leads, get more sales, that kind of stuff. redcanoemedia.com/strategy. And lastly, I do monthly training similar to this one. My next training is in September. It is the 5 steps to digital domination. We're going to be talking about all kinds of things, including voice search, visual search, which is really cool through Pinterest, getting reviews, chatbots, all kinds of cool stuff. You can sign up for that at redcanoemedia.com/next training. And if you save that link, it changes every 30 days with the next training that's coming up as well. Kelly says, a question I get quite a bit is how to optimize your page so that when you share a blog article links from it to Facebook, it shows the full-size photo with the link. Okay, so what you're talking about is Open Graph. And you guys have that on your site, but I'm not sure, I don't know if this is a WordPress site or if this is, I think this might be like Chamber Nation or something that you guys use. So they may kind of lock you down on that stuff. Yeah, this is by Chamber Nation. So in WordPress, pretty easy to do. I'll pop into the back end here and show you. You have Open Graph on your site, which was that stuff that I looked at right here at the top, all of this Open Graph image, Open Graph image, Open Graph URL. So the Open Graph is a generally agreed on system from all the different social networks on how to, if it's coded in your site, this is the information they will use to show, right? So in this case, for some reason, you guys have, let's call it 8, it might be more. You have 8 different pictures showing for your Open Graph for that page. It should only be one main featured item for each page. And then it has, okay, here's the URL. So what happens is if I share this, if there was just one picture and then the URL, when I shared it in Facebook, it would know to always use this picture and this link for this particular page. So with having all of those, that might be part of the problem. In WordPress, when you're doing a post, I'll show you the citations one that I just put up for you guys. So here's the new citations, list of citations that I just put up yesterday for you guys. But one of the things that I did is I added a featured image. This featured image is what shows up in all of the systems for what picture to tie to this particular link. Now, again, in WordPress, you can control this a little bit more with the Yoast SEO plugin, and I don't want to get too crazy technical, but you can actually change and use a image specifically for Facebook. You can change the title of how Facebook sees it, and then you can do the same for Twitter. So you can have different pictures for the different platforms, which is pretty cool. In most cases, you can see I didn't fill it out. I'm happy with this picture. And then, of course, the title and everything that I put in there matches. So that's how you do it. Very very likely you can't control some of that stuff with just because it's in the Chamber Nation platform. That could be the main problem there. So, all right, let's make sure I get everybody's questions.
Rob had a question about if you have two locations, how do you get both to pop up on Google at the same time?
Okay. So if they're both physical locations, then the only thing that's going to pop up is the one that's closest to you. So Sunshine Drapery has 3 locations. Sunshine Drapery. If I look for them, it's going to probably, well, oh, here we go. It's going to give me both locations because I searched for the brand name. So that is the only way that would happen. Most likely what's going to happen is if I'm a little bit farther, I'm a little bit far from their locations, so it might not give me the right result. But if I just typed in something like Drapery's there we go, Drapery St. Louis, it's going to give me the location that's closest to me along with 2 competitors. So there's no way for them to show up all 3 times for all 3 locations for a generic search. The only way that that would happen is if it was a brand search like I just showed you. So in this case, they're one of the 3, and you can see that, I'm in Arnold. They are in Crestwood area, I think Sunset Hills area. So if you have 2 locations, definitely put them both in and claim them both along with their location. And then whichever search is closer to that particular location, that one will show up, assuming that it, assuming that it will show up in the 3-pack in the first place. Jeff said, my company is nationwide. Is there any way to change my pages on my own, or will I need to make suggestions to my company? It depends. If they just give you a corporate page on a corporate site that you get, most likely you can't control 90% of that stuff, and you're not going to be able to optimize it very well. Best scenario, and it depends on the business, best scenario is to have your own website, jeffreywolf.com or healthinsurancestlouis.com or something like that, right? But have your own site that you can control 100%. And if you're going to do that, I would obviously recommend WordPress as the best way to do that. Rob, you are welcome. Anything else I missed, Thad?
I don't see any other questions. I'm going to give people a moment to think of their questions and write them. As we do that, I'm going to make mention that in a spirit of honesty, I have used Will Hanke for a lot of his services for my business. And it's helped a lot. I've used him for the reviews. I have my review card. There it is. I leave this with people. And if when Will was speaking, and it happens often when Will is speaking, you don't understand what he's saying because it's a foreign language.
I don't know what I'm saying.
Things like H1, H2, H3, HTML, on-page optimization, and then right-clicking on anything. Most people don't know how to right-click, and it's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. If you don't understand this stuff, I would highly suggest calling Will and talking with him about what you want and what kind of things you have. If you don't even know what kind of website you have, like he said it's WordPress. You might have it on Weebly. I think Kelly said that the chamber site's on a Weebly. You don't even know what kind of website you have. Give him a call. He can right-click all over your site and tell you stuff that you didn't know. And he can help you with a lot of this stuff. If you need help building a website, Will can do it. He doesn't like doing it. I don't think he really specializes in that. But if you
we do now, actually, my daughter Amber has moved into full-time web development role, and that's what she's doing now. So
there you go.
We're full on with web development now.
They can definitely do that. Will was building websites long ago and realized that 1, it's not fun, and 2, he's much better at SEO
right.
and the whole digital marketing process. So yeah, I highly recommend Will, and I also have to recommend Amber because she's now becoming smart and soon will be smarter than Will. Um,
It doesn't take much.
and that's when, and Will just be on a boat somewhere as soon as
Right.
it happens. That's the only reason he's doing this, is to get on a boat. I
A
don't see,
red canoe.
yeah, a red canoe. I don't see a lot of other questions. So I want to thank everybody for attending. Do go to redcanoemedia.com and get some answers. Sit and talk to Will about this stuff, because this is not why you are in business. You are not in business for SEO and for optimization and for reviewing systems and reviews and Moz Local. This is not why you got into business. You got into business to do what you want to do. And you need to talk to somebody who knows what they're doing. And obviously Will does, because he speaks several different languages and is very good at this stuff. So I want to thank everyone for coming to this. Thanks to Kelly and the Fenton Chamber for having these educational monthly seminars. They just they allow us to learn more about how to run our business and how to be better at what we do by learning from people that know things we don't know. So we will be doing another one in September. Look for an email from Kelly. Kelly, do you have anything?
I do not have anything to add at this time. We are slowly but surely getting back to kind of a normal routine here with luncheons and breakfast networking events and things like that. So just watch your email as we start to get more things on the calendar finally. It's been a long time coming, but we're slowly but surely trying to navigate, within the guidelines here in the county, and just try to continue to bring the best value that we can for our members. Will, thank you so much for all your time this morning. We so appreciate you.
No problem at all. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Thad.
Thank you, Kelly. And if no one has anything else, we will all see you next month, and keep your eyes open for the next chamber email. So have a great day and enjoy yourselves. Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.